Welcome to the Kickass Couples Podcast. This is the place where we help committed couples who want to level up their marriage experience newfound clarity, hope, and confidence. We're Matthew and Kim, co-hosts and husband and wife.
In 26 years together, we've seen a lot and never thought it could be as good as it is right now. We're here to help you successfully navigate the messy, dirty, and wonderful world of marriage.
We believe all couples deserve and are capable of experiencing an extraordinary and fulfilling marriage. And each week, we're bringing you life lessons from real-life successful couples to help you grow and strengthen your relationship.
We'll get started right after this message.
If you want to learn how to experience the best, most fulfilling year of your marriage, we invite you to order Matthew's new book, Kickass Husband, Winning at Life, Marriage, and Sex. You can get it at Amazon.com or visit Matthew's website, www.matthewphoffman.com. Again, that's Amazon.com or www.matthewphoffman.com. And now, back to the show.
Hello, and welcome back to the Kickass Couples Podcast. Today, we are doing a recap episode of Audrey, Bilger, and Cheryl Pawelski. And wow, what an incredible couple they are. They've been together for 26 years and are married, and they are definitely a kick-ass couple.
No doubt. Oh my gosh, we could have talked to these guys for hours. We had to cut it short so we didn't keep you on the line forever with this one.
Definitely.
It was incredible.
I think the thing I love the most is that these are two very accomplished women in their own right who have come together with a spirit of adventure and just this love and dedication to each other. That's incredible.
I know. I think that two accomplished professionals, radically different careers. They've had great seasons in their relationship, but right from the get-go, it was so easy, Kim, to figure out and tell that they are just so in love with each other and such a dynamic relationship. And man, if I had a checklist out of what are they doing right, I think I would have just checked almost every single box.
I agree. I think that one of the things that really stood out to me is that these two said to each other, we are our greatest project. And I love how they look at their relationship as a project, because don't we all want to conquer and, what's the latest project? What can I, check off my list? What can I be working on right now? And they look at their relationship as the best and greatest project they have. And so it's a constant work in progress, and they're so proud of it.
Yeah, I think Cheryl said something like, she said, it's the best work they can do. Better than anything else. They each generally feel that. So when you approach your relationship with that attitude, like, I get to do this, I want to do this, and this is the best thing I can do or be doing, there's no doubt that the results are going to be amazing. And they have been for them in their entire relationship.
It always comes back down to prioritizing your relationship. I mean, we say that over and over again. And here we are again with a couple that really is mindful about spending time together. They realize that both of their jobs take them in such different directions, and where they can be all consumed during the day by things that they're doing for their businesses. But then they say, wow, we're greedy for each other. We've got to spend time together. We've got to create time together. And so, that comes back down to, again, prioritizing and communicating. Let's have dinner together. Let's make sure that we can go on a walk together. They intentionally do things to create space and time to be with each other because they're greedy for each other.
They are. And I think that's a great, Kim said it. They said that too. They say we are greedy about our time together, and they make no apologies for it. So I never thought about being greedy for my time with you. And we both, Kim and I both agreed that when we're talking to them, that's a great way to use greed, because you want more of what's so good. And if you act that way, then you're going to make sure you get to fill the bucket of your partner. And they are doing that so well. I think Cheryl may have been the one that said, our jobs are so intense, they could eat us up. Because Cheryl is a record producer, a 2-time Grammy Award winning producer. She had the bling on the table right behind her there. It was fun to see that. And first time we've talked to someone that has won not one, but 2 Grammys. And so you can imagine the life of a record producer and the work that they do. And then Audrey is the president of a private college. And when you're in charge of an institution, that's something else that can eat you up. So they could make excuses and say, gosh, babe, prioritizing the work and the job. But in the midst of that, and this is a couple where they both have full-time demanding careers. So it's easy for them to get pulled away, and they have a lot of love and respect. I think they used the example. I think Audrey was giving her first presentation to her board at the college, and then Cheryl was up for an alumni award for Marquette, where she went to college, and they both wanted the other one to be there for them, but they knew they couldn't because they were in their right place doing what they needed to do. And so they talked about it, but no resentment, and instead they chose to revel, right, in the success that the other was having. And that's another item on the list for a kick-ass couple, is to revel in the success and the accomplishment of your partner.
They're so proud of each other, and that just really shined through their interview, just that they really support, love, and respect each other and want each other to do well. Again, it's that project that they're just continually working on, and that support and that love is just so evident in their relationship. I feel like they are just this incredible couple who are really aware of each other, their needs. I love how when it does get crazy and they are apart, they can come back together and say, okay, we've got to be mindful of the fact that we need to have dinner. Cheryl says, I walk my president to work every morning. And I love that. That's carving out time to communicate. And I think Cheryl said something really interesting too about when you're walking. What was the comment?
She said when you're walking, your body is engaged in something it has to do, and it allows your mind to focus on what's important. And Kim and I can relate. We love to go on rucks together, weighted backpacks, and we're out there for an hour and 15 minutes, sometimes longer. And your body's engaged, and it means that your mind is free to talk because you're not thinking about other activity. And I think that's a great example. And I mean, what's so hard, Kim, is, a lot of the couples we talk to have different stories about what their love looked like in their families of origin growing up. And both Cheryl and Audrey had amazing families. Both their parents are still together. She said they're a little corny and they laugh at a lot of bad jokes, but they both modeled great relationship. So they came to the relationship with good models, not radically different, about what love looked like. And I think kind of my favorite big takeaway from this couple is that they said, I think it was Cheryl that said, the greatest act of love is to be there for someone else and you contribute to them and the relationship. And I thought, what a great quote. In other words, the biggest loving thing I can do for my wife is to be there for her and contribute to her success. And they both feel that way. And imagine the impact and the synergy when both members of a couple are contributing and giving with the idea that the greatest act of love they can give is to pour in and make somebody else shine.
Yeah. Cheryl said we are for each other all the time. And I love that quote. She said, my job is at every opportunity to make Audrey's life easier. Wow. If we all had that sense of awareness with each other, with our spouses, how wonderful would that be? How we would feel so supported and loved and encouraged.
That's huge.
It's a great example.
It is.
When it comes to creating a kick-ass marriage, do you ever wonder what you could be doing better? Have you ever thought how helpful it would be to be a part of a like-minded community of other imperfect couples who want to level up in their number one relationship? Come visit Kickass Couples Nation, where you can talk with people just like you who are looking for ways to invest in and increase their joy, commitment, and fulfillment in their most important human relationship. You'll have access to a team of licensed marriage therapists, coaches, articles, podcasts, live webinars, and more. Just visit MatthewPHoffman.com so you can learn more about a community that's ready to help you level up. That's MatthewPHoffman.com so you can become of the growing Kickass Couples Nation right now.
And that leads into kind of some more thoughts about commitment. I think where Audrey said, she goes, you got to ask yourself, is the relationship all about your ego, or is it about serving each other and being service oriented? Sure. And that's a conscious decision. That's not something that just happens or you fall into. It's a choice. So when you step back and look at your relationship, you got to think, am I being servant oriented in this relationship, or instead is it all about me? And each of them have jobs and careers where I'm sure they have to be all about them, and because they're in charge. Cheryl's running the record company and Audrey is running the college, right? So they each have to have those command and control relationships at work, but they're so thoughtful, they don't let that model come back to the relationship. And instead, they take their egos out the door. And what you just said about Cheryl saying, I walk my president to work, she goes, I'm her Sherpa. I carry your briefcase, I carry your bag. And, and I think she also, another great act of love that Kim and I share is Cheryl brings Audrey her cup of coffee in the morning, or was it the other way around?
It was the other way around.
Other way around. So, but so they're taking turns, right? And finding those things that they can do to say, you matter. I love you. You're number one. You're important to me. And that is just oxygen for their relationship. I love to see that.
It is. It was really refreshing. And I want to talk a little bit about conflict resolution, because as we both know, there's always going to be conflict in a relationship. You're always going to not agree on something. We're human, and that's just how it rolls. Yeah. But when it comes to conflict, they said one of their biggest challenges was really playing different roles in their relationship. So while Cheryl was on the red carpet accepting Grammy Awards, Audrey felt like the plus one, happily the plus one. But now that Audrey is president of a college, that rhythm has changed a little bit. She has a lot of demands on her. And now Cheryl is attending things that Audrey needs to be in attendance of. And so Cheryl has become the plus one. And so that dynamic in their relationship has changed. They even went as far as to move to different cities so that they could be obviously near Audrey's college. And so their roles have shifted, and that plays a huge impact on a relationship, and how we handle that, how we navigate that is huge. And they've been able to do that with acceptance and love. I'm not saying it was easy, but they were able to work through it, and their relationship is better and stronger for it.
I think you're exactly right, Kim, and they were intentional about it. It's not, guys, kick-ass couples don't occur by accident. Mm-hmm. It's intentional and mindful, right? And we got a plan.
100%.
The relationship, it's work, but it's the best work that we can do. And I think that one of the rules that they came up with, I think this was Audrey that said this, that you got to be aware. She said, we have to be mindful to not say never and always as we talk to each other. Because when you use never and always, you never or you always, you're using a superlative and casting your spouse, putting them in that little box and saying that they can't change or they're inflexible. And I think it's important because you don't want to permanently label them some way, because relationships and people are dynamic. We make mistakes. We have disagreements. Maybe we're not having a great day or performing the way we want to. But when you use those superlatives, never and always, it's a dangerous zone in the relationship. And, never always is win-lose thinking. right? It means someone is right, somebody is wrong. Somebody does something, somebody doesn't do something. And win-lose thinking is so dangerous in any committed relationship. It's got to be win-win. And we talk all the time, it's got to be about the us. And they've done such a great job of making sure that they're both in it for us and getting ego out of the way.
Sure. And I think I'd like to kind of wrap up the recap by just noting how much of a sense of adventure and fun that they have, and how fun, humor, play is a huge, important role in their relationship. They even seek out friends who like to play and have fun. They both love music. They love to dance. They love to be silly. And I think that that goes such a long way in a relationship to keeping it healthy and hearty and fun-loving.
That's right. They do it with each other, and they surround themselves with people that like to do it. Imagine the record collection on the wall, the vinyl of a record producer, and they use that fun and play to pull quotes out of songs. They start dancing, and they are so willing to make fun of themselves and each other, and they keep that thread of humor. It's our 14th pillar, but such an important one, to make sure that fun and humor are central, and that's their go-to to mix things up, to make light of, and to make sure they're loving and supporting each other in that great way. You got to go back and listen to this episode. It was full of so much great stuff.
Yeah, I could keep going, but I don't want to divulge too much, because I really want our listeners to go in and listen to the entire episode. They are a tremendous couple, and this interview just has so many great pearls of wisdom in it. So
it does. I loved the time we had together. I was telling Kim the other day when we were thinking about this recap, the only bummer is they don't live in the same town, and we can't go have dinner with them. So
exactly.
Cheryl and Audrey, we are going to come to California or Oregon, one of the two, so we can hang out and have some of those fun times together. And so, our hats off to you all for being such a kick-ass couple and sharing so many great things with us that we can all use in our own relationships and make sure that we're prioritizing. And speaking of prioritization, if you want to learn how to better prioritize your spouse, if you want to have help and guidance and coaching, go check out at MatthewPHoffman.com, Kickass Couples Nation. That's our platform. We're here to help you level up and deepen and strengthen your number one relationship. So thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode or the full episode of Cheryl and Audrey, please give us a review, and you can send that review, a screenshot of that, to podcast@kickasscouples.com, and we've got a special gift waiting for you. So thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
And remember, happily ever after doesn't just happen. It's on purpose.
That's all we've got for this episode of the Kickass Couples Podcast. If you like the content of this show, you'll love Matthew's newly released book, Kickass Husband, Winning at Life, Marriage, and Sex. To receive a digital mini book of quotes and images from the book, all you have to do is rate this show and leave a review in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in to listen. Then email us a screenshot of your review at podcast@kickasscouplespodcast.com, and we'll get it over to you right away. Until next time, remember, happily ever after doesn't just happen. It's on purpose.